Welcome to the John Meyer Podcast, where we're bringing you interesting stories and conversations from around the world. Today's topic: from Krakow to the cloud and reimagining DevOps for today's challenges. Joining us today is Jacek, who's the founder of Let's Go DevOps, but don't let that fool you. He's also a DevSecOps engineer. Please join me in welcoming Jacek to the show. Jacek, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, John, for having me on the show.
Jacek, I want to step back just a little bit before we talk more about Let's Go DevOps and the DevOps challenges out there. How long have you been a DevOps engineer?
Whoa, that's a tricky question because I feel old recently. Probably like 15, 18 years. I would need to count it, actually.
And all the time that you spent with DevOps, did you naturally progress into that role, or were you just, hey, I'm a DevOps engineer today?
So, to be honest, I started as a Java developer, but it was like 15 years ago. We had to write a lot of boilerplate code to actually do anything with Java. So, I quickly decided that it's not my thing. For a while, I was a C++ guy, but let's be honest, it was not also my thing. I always loved tinkering with machines, so I moved to a more system admin position. And at some point, I noticed that, the world is actually looking into automating the stuff and actually building the DevOps culture. And this is when I hopped the train and became a DevOps from, well, being a developer and a little bit of a system admin. So I think this is how it clicked.
Oh my God, I remember C++ and typing everything in Notepad, but we won't go there a little bit. Jacek, you have been in DevOps for, say, the last 15 years. Talk to me through it. What has changed from when you started to now?
I would like to say that not much, but yeah, 10 years or 15 years is quite a lot of time. And I remember the very beginnings of the DevOps and, all the companies when they had any issues, like even if the coffee machine was broken, they were hiring DevOps to fix it, right? Everyone wanted to have a DevOps engineer. And it was so unclear what is the responsibility of the DevOps guy that we actually had everything under our wings. So like DBAs, system admins, you name it, everything was within the DevOps position. And what changed recently is, first of all, we are looking into more specialized people and we are talking more of a platform engineers, infrastructure engineers, not necessarily DevOps engineers. It's not so commonly used term anymore. But what I'm seeing, brings the biggest value is actually creating the platforms for the companies. So we are not only thinking about the automation, but we are also thinking about this developers highway to release software as fast as possible. So like, it's not only about automating the infrastructure stuff.
I love where you said that you're hiring DevOps engineers to fix coffee machines. When I was back a server admin, from your definition, I was technically a DevOps engineer where I not only did the servers, the databases, the infrastructure, we just didn't utilize that term and how our job roles actually functioned. What is missing from today's DevOps?
I think that it depends from company to company because like we are still missing a unified definition of what DevOps or platform engineers should be doing. And this leads to a weird situations where even when we are recruiting guys that have a experience as a DevOps engineers in their CV, they can be from array of spectrums, right? So from DBAs to system admins, sometimes the guys don't even had a chance to code in any language. So it's more like a ClickOps DevOps part. It's really weird still in the field. So I think that we are missing unification. And this makes it a lot harder when I approach a potential client to actually tell them that we are doing a DevOps stuff, because we usually first need to make sure that the definition is okay and the conversation becomes a lot longer than it should be.
You're spot on with talking about each role or definition of DevOps is unique for every company, right? So when they look at it and I need a DevOps engineer and they go out and they try to hire somebody, it's very unique for them. It's a unicorn. I know you need to do this, that, while your definition as a DevOps engineer is I do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I was like, I want to jump over and talk about Let's Go DevOps. What is it?
So basically, it's a group of DevOps engineers, the DevOps engineers that have a really unique skill set. So, like, because we are the team of over 20 DevOps engineers or infrastructure engineers, we have the guys that are hardcore network engineers. We have the guys that came from coding. There are more devs than system admins, and plenty other skill sets that we have in our portfolio. So although we are doing a team-based approach for every client, and we are building the team that matches uh, his organization, the fact that we are the team of people that really are excited about technology and have their own unique skills, we actually provide a variety of services. Like if you need DBA, we have DBAs in our squad, so we can always pull in the guy just for consulting or doing a full-time job, and we are a little bit more flexible. So we're a little bit like a cloud for DevOps services, right? You can just pick the services that you need, and we will deliver high-quality engineers.
The problem it sounds like you're solving is each group is unique for a company that they need to handle, right? So let's just say company A needs DevOps engineers and they talk to you and they're like, I need this service, and this skill set. And you're like, we've got you. Here's the team for you.
Usually we focus on the long-term relationship. So we grow with the company. The best companies for us are startups that are just building in. We are usually picking the commando unit that can do everything, and the Swiss knives of DevOps world. We put them into the startups. When the startups grow, we actually notice what kind of skill set they have, and usually we are recruiting explicitly to build the team within single client or single partner, but we still have the skill set among the other members of the team. So if at any moment you need a help with database or something like this, you can always pull one of the guys from other projects, tell him that, okay, I have this issue. Can you guide me, or can you jump into the project and fix it? And we are flexible when it comes to, moving knowledge around, and everyone is eager to learn new stuff.
Haven't other companies tried to do this? And what has been missing from this type of methodology or work?
I think that a lot of companies try to do it, especially when you look on the software houses, that they usually try to have all the technologies available. We have a little bit different approach. It's not that we will solve all the issues that you have. We are specialized in cloud, mainly AWS and GCP. We have a lot of Linux knowledge. So there is a certain pillar how we build the company and the skill set. So we will not help you with every issue that you have. So we are pretty specialized, but when it comes to this specialization, we actually have even deeper specialists. So it's a little bit more narrow than other companies, making sure that we always can deliver high quality stuff and have the guys that are actually knowledgeable about the certain aspects.
Can you help me understand some of the biggest technical or strategic DevOps challenges you might see your clients facing today?
Well, when it comes to technical challenges, I think the biggest one is actually making the camera to work
Wait,
for
wait,
the
wait,
show.
Jacek. Do you have a DevOps engineer for that?
Yes, we do. And we can solve those problems as well, as you can see, right?
Right.
When it comes to a technical challenges, we like solving a big issues, right? Or the big challenges, because a lot of the guys that I have, they became a little bit bored with the companies that they worked in. They need some of distractions and more complex challenges. When it comes to the biggest stuff that we did over the last year or two, we had a client that requested us to create something that is called the Ultra Cluster. This is basically graphics cards available on the internet or on the net with unified memory. So we created a pretty small Ultra Cluster containing like 8 terabytes of memory with 2 terabytes of graphic memory that is unified. You can access it from uh, any node that's working in the cluster. We have 32 fiber optics cards that are trunked, so we have a theoretical 3.2 terabit per second capacity when it comes to the network, and we are saturating it through most of the life cycle of the project. And it was challenging because it was first in the world implementation, so we worked deeply with AWS engineers who helped us troubleshoot the network virtualization that they have internally in AWS. They mentioned that it's a first of a kind setup that we were doing. So those are the challenges that we like to tackle and like to solve.
Yeah, it's like being based in Krakow, Poland, which some consider an actual a thriving tech scene. How has it shaped Let's Go DevOps growth?
Krakow is a really interesting place because a lot of businesses actually came into Krakow a while ago. And the idea behind this is that we have plenty of universities in Krakow, plenty of technical universities. So you have pretty much a quite a pool of talent that comes to the market every year, right? So a lot of companies like Sabre, Oracle, Motorola, Google, and so on came to Krakow a while ago and they started building a tech ecosystem here in Poland, in Krakow area. So this meant that we had a lot of really cool engineers working on cool stuff that were willing to share and build the entire ecosystem in here in Krakow. So having this in mind, I actually when I finished college, I didn't have any problem with finding internship. I met a lot of people, and some of those relationships and trust that I built over the years actually resulted in landing some of our clients.
We know that multi-cloud exists and it takes a unique set of skills per cloud provider. How are you handling multi-cloud for customers though?
So first of all, we had the episode of being a truly multi-cloud, like being hot when it comes to AWS and GCP. And the question is a little bit tricky because I usually discourage our clients for going truly multi-cloud and cloud agnostic. It's like nobody talks about it, but there's so much pain in actually running your stack on two different cloud providers. You're losing so many benefits of going into the cloud that in my opinion you need to have a really really solid case and a really really deep budget to actually decide to go hot when it comes to multiple clouds. And the truth is that from our perspective we are mainly passionate about AWS, and if you look on how many announcements on reinvent there are for a new services, being ahead of what's going on with AWS, it's basically a full-time job, just reading the blogs and news about the new stuff. We are focusing on AWS and decided that the secondary cloud that we are supporting is GCP, and we are not expanding too much, right? So in many cases, we can help out with our Linux and the foundation knowledge that we have. And the clouds are, to be honest, not that different. They have some caveats, but a lot of the concepts are actually similar, and you just need to learn a little bit more about what are the corner cases in each of the configurations. But from our perspective, we are two major clouds, so AWS and GCP. Plus, we sometimes help with a smaller vendors that are usually more cost optimized for a smaller companies. And in there, we just have people that are specializing with this particular technology, as it's not as broad as AWS or GCP.
I don't think too many people decide that they're going multi-cloud. It just happens. They inquire companies, companies get bought, sold. Somebody's playing around with a new service and another thing. Going multi-cloud is very difficult. And the old thought process behind it was that you don't want to be vendor locked in. You want to be able to move where you want. And that was because it came from the traditional on-premise thing that they were locked into licenses and vendors you use. When you go to cloud, each has their own specific niche of services and value to them, and really kind of gearing towards those is beneficial for your company. And I want to switch gears just a little bit. And we know that security is top of mind for everybody, and it should be job zero. How are you handling making security a top priority, not only for you, but for Let's Go DevOps and your customers?
So first of all, what we do is we shift security left as much as possible. So starting from our code, it's constantly scanned with like stuff like TFSec and other code scanning tools. We make sure that the approach that we have for new services and cloud is actually least privilege approach. And what we do for every company is when building modules, those blocks are pretty much constrained about the security and compliance restrictions that each of the companies have. So we are making sure that if you are a developer, you don't need to think too much about the infrastructure security, because if you use a predefined modules used in the company, they're actually secured. And there's a caveat because usually we cannot secure every module in exactly the same way. So it differs from one customer to another. Sometimes you have a geological restrictions, sometimes you have some other weird stuff. I usually call it the floor is lava, right? So you don't know why, but there is some kind of restriction from compliance and so on. So we have a lot of those caveats. and we don't want developers to think about them. So everything that we do, the platform that we are building for them, actually keeps some kind of restrictions, but without interfering their work too much.
When you say shifting left, are you talking about like inherited security from the cloud providers?
So that's one of the cases, but we also create the software development lifecycle in the way that from very beginning you have all the scanning tools, unit tests, and so on run on the code bases that we are deploying, and this is something that will come to you automatically when you use our modules, right? So this way, not only the infrastructure stuff, but also the development stuff or the code is well secured and scanned regularly. Also, when we go to the cloud and we are launching the infrastructure, we try to enable as many security features as possible. It usually depends on the budget, right? Because not they are not cheap, right? Let's be honest. But we try to add as many features as possible so we get notified about any breach from our side, any misconfiguration, and so on. Also, we are partnering up with some of the security companies that are doing pen tests. And I love the challenge. So, like every year, we have this 1 week or 2 weeks actually, where one of our partners come in and he tries to beat the hell out of the configurations that we have, and it's always like who's on top. So we really like the game, and yeah, having this in mind from the very beginning that there will be someone testing you at every single step on the way, it brings this approach that we need to make it secure from the very beginning. And the more we hard code into the platform and enforce it as a part of the platform, the easier it is for everyone to actually move forward with the security stuff.
Integrated security into your processes, and also the pen tests on top of that, doing basically a hectic week of trying to break security, try to figure out some of the loopholes, but keep everybody on their toes. I like it. I think what that does is it doesn't get people too comfortable with what they're deploying out. It keeps making security top of mind for everybody.
Exactly. And like we love the game. So there is then even a small prize for the winner of the competition.
Gamifying, the competitions is always helpful. It keeps everybody engaged, and it's always fun because we have a natural competitive nature amongst ourselves. Jacek, what's your vision for the future?
To be honest, I think we never thought about, a whole lot of the future in front of us because we started the company because we saw stuff not working, especially when it comes to consulting and the DevOps consultancy. So being as a DevOps engineers hands-on in the companies, when we were offered with the help from consulting agencies, we were never too happy about the stuff that they delivered. So we decided, okay, it's a moment to actually start something of our own, have our own team. And the initial idea was to have like 6 people on board and have this great team of great people working together. And currently we have over 20 guys. It's still, first of all, focus on having great team and great minds in our team. The future is, progress, but making sure that we don't lose this initial speed and initial integrity that we have within the team, and everything else is more like the opportunities that we like to explore. So if you have a really interesting challenge, it's like we'll probably be super hyped up about fixing it or solving it. So if you come to us with a cool idea, we are like, usually, let's go, let's hop on board and let's try to do something cool and something that will change the way technology is used somewhere.
Speaking of the way technology is used, technology is always evolving. Every 6 months is like 10 years in technology. DevOps has changed from the last 10 to 15 years. How do you plan to stay ahead of the curve?
Well, I think it's all about the culture that we have and the cultural fit for everyone that's coming to the Let's Go DevOps, because the guys are actually hyped by learning new stuff. I personally love learning new stuff and going through the different tutorials, playing out with the stuff, and so on. It's okay for the team to actually gather new knowledge, and it's not something that we need to enforce, right? Everyone has this internal driver, and like every week we have this session of showing off what we actually accomplished and something cool among the colleagues. And if you would see the presentations, the guys are just they're blowing my mind with the stuff that they are doing on their home labs or that they are solving for our clients. It's like we are always learning, so we are trying to be on the very front of the curve, right? See where the stuff is going.
My last question for you is, do you have any examples you can share with us that can showcase some of your achievements?
Well, I think there will be plenty of those. I think the AWS case with Ultra Cluster and working directly with AWS engineers, this is, I think, our biggest achievement of last couple of months, because we're truly delivering something for the first time and actually influencing the way that AWS is making their services, making their documentation, and running the stuff. So this was really, really cool to work on it. The second thing that I can think about is the stuff that we did for other company. I will call it a hot potato, because this was the project where nobody in the company actually wanted to pick it up. We thought it may be a really cool project, and I actually went to C-level and told them that I want to have your hot potato with us. And the project was that they had over half of petabyte of auditing data scattered across entire Europe. So first of all, the project was not documented at all. So we needed to figure out why it was built, how it was built, what versions are up and running, where are the servers. Some of them were actually turned off, so we needed to call support to come into server room and plug it in, turn it on. Some of them, or this is really, really fun bit of it, we actually shut down internet for one of the countries in Europe. It seems that our data was sitting in the government facility, and their way of limiting the internet speed was not smart. And when we start pushing a Golang code, we actually saturated the connectivity, and most of the country actually went offline. And we got a call from one of the ministries to shut down the operation. So
I can imagine that call where they called you and said, "Hello, you just killed our internet. We shut you down. Stop doing it."
At first, I thought it was phishing, but then it actually escalated.
I don't believe this call. Sorry, hanging up. They called you back. Hello?
So, like, imagine getting a call and somebody tells you, "Hey, I'm the president of United States. You need to stop your process on the server A."
Yeah. Please
Like,
give
you
me your
don't believe it.
GoFundMe and Social Security.
So, yeah, that's one of the cases that we actually had. And with the project itself, like half of petabyte of data, it was really hard for the guys to get any knowledge out of this data. We moved it into GCP, and we actually focus on the time and the complexity of the operations that are done on the data set. So now the guys can scan the half of petabyte of data within 11 seconds. And this, you can ask any question for the data. So like looking how the organization changed over the months when they noticed that now we can actually make educated decisions based on data that is available for everyone. This was astonishing. And technically, project of moving half of petabyte of data across Europe in different directions, it was really, really interesting stuff technically to do.
Well, everybody, today's topic is from Krakow to the cloud and reimagining DevOps for today's challenges. Joining us was Jacek, who's the founder of Let's Go DevOps. Jacek, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking with you. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. And yeah, see you in the comments.
Everybody, this was the John Meyer Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notify, because guess what? We're out of here.